so goes the smelt, so goes the rest of the ecosystem. And that is a bellwether for ecosystem health. You're losing one species, you're changing the whole ecosystem. And that's the debate with water supply in California. If you drive up and down 5, has anyone seen these signs? Yep, Congress created Dust Bowl. So this is, these are primarily, I see them a lot on almond farms that are up and down the coast, because you see those from 5. But each year that they shut off the pumps, there's about 500,000 acres of farmland that's left fallow because it can't be watered. Which means that we're talking about almond farmers, tomato farmers, garlic farmers, all sorts of things. That's about $700 million in lost agricultural revenue. Who wants to pay more for tomatoes? No one really. So you have all sorts of stakeholders in this. You have people who pay more for water. You have environmentalists who see this as a downside. You have farmers who can't farm. You have fishermen who can't fish. And they're all on different sides of it. So part of what I wanted to have, part of what I usually do when we do this in conservation bio, I was going to ask, when do you guys usually take a break?
It's up to you. Whenever
Okay.
you think it's the right time to break it.
Okay. Is there a board behind here?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to raise this for a second. No? No?
No, it's not.
It's not on that. I'm making something go up and down somewhere. Okay. So part of what we do when we do this in conservation biology, I figured I'd do with you guys, is there are many what we call stakeholders. And part of what you do with any analysis in conservation biology and sustainability is to do a stakeholder analysis. That's a fancy term for identifying all the groups that have some sort of dog in the fight regarding the Delta water shutoff. So who do you guys think the stakeholders are for this group? I gave you a short list of them before, but who cares about the water?
Northern California, Southern California.
Right, so we have, I'll call you guys the citizens and the municipal water districts of both Southern California and Northern California. Who else? Well, let me stop. Why do they care?
It's the water.
It's their water, so it's both water supply and, would we let them go without water? No, what would we do? Probably charge more, right? So the sort of concern here is that there may like a shortage of water or increased prices. Who else cares about this issue? Yeah.
The agricultural farms using it.
Yep. Agriculture. They care because they're losing money. Who else cares?
Industry.
Mm-hmm. And what's their position?
Well, they need the water, they probably don't pay.
Right, so they would argue that they're losing money as well. Yeah.
The energy production, maybe else.
Mm-hmm. And that's probably overall, I'm just going to say that's a higher price for energy if you were shutting off dams. Who else cares?
Environmentalists.
Exactly. And what's their sort of take on it?
Endangered species.
Mm-hmm. So they're concerned about losing ecosystems and a species. And I'll call that an ES, Endangered Species Act. Who else? What about some of those fish species I listed on there? Salmon, steelhead. Who's fishing for those? Both commercial and recreational fishermen. So you have Who else weighs in on issues like this in California? Yeah.
How much is there commercial and recreational boating, sailing, swimming in this area? Is that?
Yeah, no, that's a good one. So any sort of recreational activities, that's a good one. Which is probably both, we could say that's parks and its citizens that would be affected. So these guys are losing fish, I'll say. These guys are losing access. Who else gets involved? Whose ultimate decision is this? The government, exactly. If you're the governor and you're putting forth a plan, who do you want to annoy least of these groups? That's the challenge, right? You're going to isolate one side of the debate. You know, you're looking at a $700 million a year loss for farmers. They have a pretty strong lobby in the state of California. But you're also looking at, you know, $500 billion in fisheries loss if you don't shut off the pumps. There's a lot of money if you leave the pumps on. There's a lot of money lost if you shut them off. Governor Schwarzenegger proposed a peripheral canal. So to take all the water and just run it around the delta and not worry about it. You wouldn't have to deal with the pumps. You also wouldn't have any water going into your ecosystems. So each one of these groups is going to have a different stake in this. Some want the pumps off, some want the pumps on. You know, there's other people that weigh in. I'll put a category on here. There's a lot of scientists. They happen to be from, you know, UC Davis usually. They weigh in on this issue, and they've risked or staked their careers on advocating for different positions within this argument.
Are there people who benefit from all this?
Who benefit from it? Depending on which way, from the situation overall, I don't know.
How about, for example, bottling company, water bottling company?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe industry isn't losing money. Maybe there's, I'll say, creation of an alternative market. You know, that there's companies that can sell water because we don't have a reliable supply of water. We certainly drink a ton of bottled water these days. I don't know what the reason is, but...
Desalination plants.
Yep. I'm going to put a category on here too that they're involved. I'm not sure if they're benefiting. But they're certainly involved in the process. Army Corps of Engineers, this is a highly modified system. They're doing things like proposing desalination. They're building the salinity gates that are up there. They're channelizing the flow. All of these things are huge projects for the Army Corps. So part of what I wanted to do by identifying the stakeholders is there's no right and wrong answer to it. We have a real challenge of ecosystems that are declining, species that are declining, but you have industries, cultures, and livelihoods that are tied in an opposite way to those ecosystems. So people are looking for solutions where you can bridge both of these. You could turn the pumps on and off at different seasons. You could guarantee the farmers water in the spring, and the fish can have water during the reproductive seasons. That's somewhat what they're trying to do now with pumps turning on and off. You can look at other